It is the return of the Europa League, and Villa are back in action this week against Go Ahead Eagles away. Another trip to Netherlands. Sadly, we won't be at that one. Obviously, it was at the final game, which you've all seen. Really happy about that. Unfortunately, can't make this one, especially with that small allocation. But wish all the fans going over there a safe journey, and let's have a little chat about it. So, we've done a little bit of research into Go Ahead Eagles, and I've got to be honest with you, my knowledge of the Eredivisie isn't perfect. Pretty sure yours isn't.
No, not at all.
So I think what we're going to do here is just a little bit of a breakdown of what we hope to see from Aston Villa, what we think the potential team will be, and just have a little general chat about it. Before we do get into it, I just want to remind you that we do have an ongoing giveaway for either a match shirt or tickets of your choice to any game. All you need to do is hit that subscribe button. So if you are new around here, make sure to smash the subscribe and also hit like on this video. We have a goal of 20 likes on the video, and all the support is really appreciated. It does help the channel grow. So first point I want to get into is just really talk about Go Ahead Eagles, the opponent. So they're currently sat 12th in the league, which, for context, we beat Feyenoord, who are currently sat top in the top of the league. So listen, Feyenoord are a good team. Let's be realistic. They played pretty well against Villa, and we had to dig deep at times. But surely we should have confidence going into a game against 12th in the league in a league which is, let's be realistic and let's say it quite how it is, a league that is much poorer than the quality of the Premier League.
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously we've got to look at it and say it's a game we should be winning, and we should be winning quite comfortably.
Would you
Obviously,
go as far as saying it should be a game we have to win?
I think so. I think it's one of them where, listen, at the end of the day, we've got two more games in the Europa League now before Christmas. Go Ahead and Maccabi. Two games we should be winning. If we win both of them, we go into the Christmas break with 12 points on the board. We need probably one more win, and we're pretty much guaranteed that top eight then. Hopefully. So it's that thing really of these games we have to win. There's going to be games where, I mean, one I'm looking at is potentially Fenerbahce away, which could be a bit of a banana skin. It's a crazy atmosphere, but again, we should be beating
It
most
could be
teams in
all
this
finished by
competition.
then, though.
Yeah, exactly. I think Go Ahead Eagles as well it's one of them where we've just got to make sure we don't do what we did against Club Bruges. We obviously last year in Champions League we drew with Juventus, we beat Bayern, beat all these teams, and then go and lose to Club Bruges. It's about
Yeah.
building momentum. Just keep the momentum going, and like you say, I think it
Being
is.
focused throughout the game as well.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
it's easy to take your eye off the ball, isn't it, when you're playing teams like this? And I think that's one thing that we have been sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah, we have done. So, just for a bit of context, they haven't won. No, sorry, they have. They've won one game all season at home in 5 games, I believe it is, and that was against second from bottom in the league. So this is kind of the level of opposition that we're playing against. They have, however, had a really decent result in. I say decent. They ain't the best themselves, but they're still not bad, and it will be a tricky away day. They had a decent away result. They beat Panathinaikos 2-1 in Greece, but they lost at home to Steaua Bucharest, who are terrible. So, yeah, I think it's pretty much what we're saying. Realistically, Villa, if we go into it and we play to the maximum of our ability, we should be beating them. So, would you say it's best we just move on to what the team we think is going to be? I'll let you
yeah,
name your team. I haven't prepared one,
yeah.
and I'm just going to give mine off the top of my head.
So I've sort of gone for a team that I'd like to see, and then sort of what I think realistically. So Bizot in goal. I think we can both agree on that. I'd like to see Garcia play, but I do think it'll be Matty Cash. I don't
Is he
think
fit?
I believe so. I'm not sure. Again, we don't know anything about him. He's just sort of disappeared. But I'd like to see some rotation at right back because obviously Matty Cash can't be expected to play every game of the season. I think Konza's going to start. We haven't really got much in the way. Lindelof's obviously an option, but I don't think
Oh, Lindelof might play right back.
potentially, yeah. Mings, if he's fit, I think will probably play. Maatsen, I think, is probably a shoe-in. I think he'll definitely play Maatsen.
Matson plays.
The two I've gone for Onana and Bogard. I think Onana just needs as many minutes as possible just to try and get back to full fitness. Bogard, obviously, there's probably a case that he should be starting for us in the Premier League, let alone in games like this. The three in behind, I've gone with what I'd like to see is Sancho, Elliott, and Buendia. What realistically, I think we will see Sancho or Elliott. I think one of those two will definitely play. Buendia, I think, will definitely play, but I do think it will be Rodgers again.
I think Evan Gesson starts.
Well, this is the thing. So my strikers, I've basically said it could be any of the three. I think Marlon obviously started against Spurs, so potentially we could see Watkins start just to get back up to full fitness. Gesson potentially could start up front. I know he's not been playing up front, but he's another option that if he is looking at rotating, getting those sort of players in. I think it's a difficult one because, like we just said then, we can't go into it underestimating Go Ahead Eagles. We can't go into it thinking we can afford to field a much weaker team and then go and get turned over. That's not something we can afford to do. But without being disrespectful, the players I've listed there as a second string team is
They should get the job done.
Yeah, exactly. It shouldn't even be close with that team.
I'd like to see John McGinn come out. I think he needs a bit of a break. He's played a lot of minutes recently, and I think I agree with you having Matty Cash come out. I'd probably go with Bizot, Lindelof potentially right back, centre halves. Then it's funny, isn't it? Because you can't really. If Lindelof's right back, Conser has to play.
Yeah.
Centre backs is. Tyrone Mings has got to be close to fitness now, isn't he?
If Tyrone Mings is fit, he plays. I think he was back in training before the
game.
I'm not mistaken. So if he's fit, he plays. I think that for me seems a shoo-in because I imagine, although we just said on the previous podcast before this, we may see Tyrone Mings against Haaland when we play City. I do imagine it would be sort of Pau Torres so we can counteract that with our own football. So I do think it will be Mings playing if he is fit.
I like your team, to be fair, especially up to the 2-6s. The 2-6s and Anna and Bogard. I think that's pretty much locked in.
I think it really allows. Sorry, I was going to say. I think it almost allows that still free role of Bogard can do the Kamara role and Onana can sort of push on a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I think it really heavily depends on how much Unai Emery's valuing the win here, and because let's be realistic, if we beat these, which a lot of mentioned, this puts us in a position where we're basically already qualified. We only need like a couple more wins, and we're as good as in the top 8. So it's massive. You need to pick up these results. Does he go stronger? Does he play a Rodgers? Does he play a Watkins for just to get goals and get like a bit of like. Confidence in them. I think Buendia starts.
I think obviously, as I said, with him coming back from injury and only getting 30 minutes against Spurs, it could be a game where if he can get a goal, just gives him that sort of boost.
Does he look to change it and go for the 4-2-2 like we did against Burnley and give Marlon a run up with Watkins?
Potentially, yeah. Listen, at the end of the day, there's plenty, and I mean plenty of options he could go for. The main thing I think which Unai Emery's really going to be thinking about is, like I say, just not losing that game. And I know it's not a case of going into the game. That's the mentality we should have. I just think it's that case of is the team I listed strong enough to beat them? Yes, very much so. Is a strong Villa team capable? Of course. Is a weak Villa team capable? Of course. Where do you find the balance? Because if you change too much, you've got players like Harvey Elliott who's barely played this season. You've got Sancho again who's barely played, so you're relying on them to sort of go into that game top form, basically. I think Harvey Elliott really needs the minutes. I think if he can have a game, if he starts and can have a really good game against Go Ahead Eagles, it gives Emery some difficult decisions then. Because at the moment, Buendia's ahead of him, and that's just simply how it is.
I think whatever the team is, it might give us a bit of an insight into what Emery's thinking for the weekend's game against Manchester City. But yeah, let us know in the comment section what would your team be for the game, and I'd like to hear from some Villa fans. What would your score predictions be, and who do you think is going to score the first goal? All that sort of stuff. I'd love to hear from you all. Have you got anything more you want to go through? Because I'm pretty happy with that, to be honest with you. Obviously.
it's one of those games. There's not a lot we can delve into, really.
We're not experts.
No, exactly. But yeah, it was up the Villa.
Yeah, nice and short and sweet from us. Guys, let us know in the comment section if there's anything you want us to add into these sort of videos, anything you'd like us to research, anything to do, just to make it more of an enjoyable episode for yourselves. Like I said, me and Corey ain't experts, but all that we are is just football fans like you, Villa fans, and all that we want to do is talk about the boys in claret and blue. So on that note, up the Villa.
Up the Villa.